Hey guys, I'm Dave.
And I'm Len.
And today we're going to talk about WindyCon and the Steampunk convention you went to. Why don't you start up with the Steampunk show?
Okay, for those people not familiar with steampunk, I found out that the convention is mostly dress up. People,
Oh, those cosplay people.
Yeah, cosplay people and lots of it. And even I put on my jersey for the Battle of Jutland, which is kind of steampunkish. I noticed first of all, the game room was very quiet. When I went in, there's only one person monitoring and nobody's playing games.
No one was playing any games?
Nobody.
Wow.
And the Gamer's Goat was the only game dealer, and the people selling seemed to be very unhappy because no one was buying their stuff. But someone told me they bought a $200 game from them, so they should that should cover their expenses.
Yeah. What were the other dealers carrying? Books or?
Mostly, there's a few of them were selling books, and a lot of jewelry and people selling jewelry and or costumes.
So were the books like Pulp books or?
Yeah, like Victorian horror books, novels, or some of. I think there was one person who had books about famous haunted houses in America.
That's cool.
I found out later. Some of them have a reputation, but some of them are just people who live there see ghosts. So, and. Actually, the competitive people were doing the foam fighting. It's a place where adults can beat up on children legally.
What, you got like foam baseball bats and you hit people with them or something?
Yeah, it's like you have shields and you have like swords and clubs, and if you hit a person, they are supposed to go to the timeout area. Of course, the little kids don't follow those rules too well. And also, they're kind of small, and actually it's easier for them to hit you. So, I found out also in one panel, live action role playing is a very big business. They have really big events.
I've only seen a live action role playing thing. There was some mall in Illinois, I can't remember what mall it was. They had a store and it was like live action role playing where you go in there and you pay like $20 and you become part of like a role playing adventure that lasts like an hour, and you go to these different rooms in there and they have people dressed up as like fantasy figures and stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that was a big thing.
Well, yeah, I thought of live action where the guys that used to see on Forest Bazaar with the cardboard shields and cardboard armor. I didn't want to join them because I don't, my cardboard armor wouldn't be enough for the cool kids. But anyway, they have one place in California, for instance, that was an old army base. So that becomes the zombie apocalypse scenario, and you have fantasy role playing. And it says in Europe it's very popular. There's some events where you have 4,000 or 5,000 people. So that's something to think about. And there are other panels where one guy had a panel on American exceptionalism and why it's a myth. But the problem was, by the time he was done, it's probably the most pro-American exceptionalism talk I've ever heard. And one guy had a two-parter about, first of all, how steam engines work, and then also various steam cars, locomotives, and ships.
Yeah, that's appropriate for a steampunk convention.
He gave the Titanic movie good points for being very accurate.
Did he mention that the boilers for those steam engines on ships, if they get like water on them from like when they're sinking or whatever, they actually explode?
Yeah, because actually that happened in the Titanic. Is two of the boilers, the two most forward ones, they couldn't get out fast enough or put out the fire, so when the water came in, they exploded, which is not good on any ship. So, like I said, he gave them good points for their accuracy. Oh, he noted in the movie, they show the Titanic had 3 propellers, but only 2 of them turning. The third propeller in the middle was for a turbine that they never fired up. So
kind of like an APU or something.
it was an auxiliary engine.
Right. Yeah, in modern terms, they would call that like an APU, like on an aircraft. Like on an aircraft, if you just want to run the air conditioning on board or whatever, you'll just run the APU, so you don't have to start up the engines in order to get electrical power. Or at least on helicopter. I don't know if it's like that on commercial jets. I don't know much about those.
Yeah, so he got the engineering right, even though he got the stars wrong, but he corrected them later in the director's cut. So, and it basically was a very nice convention.
Where was it? Was it downtown Chicago? Or?
No, in Schaumburg.
Oh, in Schaumburg. Oh, okay, interesting.
Next year they're going to have Jim Butcher, who has written a whole bunch of like horror, vampire hunter, horror movies, horror stories. So
Gotcha.
And he's starting a steampunk. So my sister excited because he's a big author in her world. So, all right. Next we'll move on to the Pulp show.
Yeah, I went to that one too. This was my first time going to the Pulp show. That's a good one.
So, this is kind of example of some of the stuff you can get. I only go on Sundays because not only do you get in, but some
you get
people
good deals.
Yeah. They give you out this booklet that's like...
Here, I'll hold it up so they can see.
They profile like famous authors and editors and publishers. And
yeah, it's got some short stories in it too and stuff.
So that's almost worth the price of...
yeah, it's only $10 to get in on Sunday. That's when I went too. And you get a free book and you can shop in there and get good deals. Show them what else you got.
Yeah, because the only problem with Sunday is you're there for... They close up about 2 o'clock. So you got... this is one, the premise is that Robert E. Howard did not kill himself. Instead, he goes on adventures like fictional characters would.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And it's kind of written like a pulp book, I would assume.
Yeah. And this is Sahara 6, French Foreign Legion adventure.
That should be cool. Anything about the French Foreign Legion is cool.
And here is War on Rome. It's a novel about Artemis, profiling Artemis in his war against Rome. The infamous Artemis who betrayed his Roman friends. So...
Yeah, I went there, and it was my first time going there. I read pulp books on occasion. I think I bought like... around 25 books or so, and I got some really good deals. I mean, I'm no expert on the value of pulp books, but compared to like half-price books, I mean, the stuff I was paying about half of what half-price books would charge. So something that would cost like $6 at half-price books, I'd get there for like $3. So, I mean, you got really good deals and stuff. And I also got a shirt. Everything I bought was old science fiction pulp paperbacks. And I also bought one new book. It was a Sherlock Holmes book that had like, I think it was either 3 or 5 stories written by modern writers. But I guess the publisher made sure they wrote the stories where they were similar to the way that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle would have wrote them. So I look forward to reading that one.
These 3 books are what we call new pulp, where you're writing in style of the old pulp masters.
Yeah, and the Sherlock Holmes book, it was about the size of this War on Rome book here. It was only $15. That's not bad for a new book.
Yeah, and also with Martin Graham's has his video collection. He also has other books too. He does a lot of books, profiles of television shows. He has a good one on the I Led 3 Lives, one of the greatest shows on television ever.
Oh, and one of the dealers there had a copy of John Carter on Mars from, I forget if it's from SPI or if it's from Avalon Hill, I think SPI, but they had an unpunched copy there for $100. It's actually not a bad price for that unpunched.
Yeah, but if you want to play it, that's a lot.
Yeah, true.
True. The only problem I had was that now the sleazy novels, sleazy paperbacks are costing more because now they're becoming collector's items. So
the newer ones or the older ones?
The older ones.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to get Suburban Housewife Swingers, you don't have to pay for it. You know, in the old days, you get those for $5 or less, and some of them were laugh riots.
I also bought a magazine from the 1950s. It doesn't look like a modern magazine as far as like dimensionally. The dimensions are probably closer to this.
Yeah.
But it has like a bunch of short stories in there, and it had a scuba diver on the front cover, and it was only, I forget, a few dollars, so I bought it. I look forward to reading that one too.
Yeah, I also bought from Martin Graham's some DVDs, one for $7 or three for $20, and yeah, it's like he's practically encouraging to buy in volume. I got one Battle Stations where Paladin is captain of an aircraft carrier in World War II. Actually, Richard Boone, but he's always Paladin to me.
Next time I go to the Windy City Pulp show, I'm going to look and see if they have, excuse me, if they have any Tarzan books, because I had gotten one for free, and it was a really old one with like a leather cover on it and stuff, and I read it, and it was actually pretty good. So I'd like to get some more of those.
So, okay. I think they also have like pulp shows in other states, in Ohio and in New Jersey. So, so look that up. Pulp and paperback shows.
Yep.
You might, if you like science fiction or fantasy, it's worth looking into.
Definitely.
All right.
All right, that's all we got, guys. See you next week.
All right.